punch hook. Now the reason I found I needed this is just before Christmas I sent all of my patrons a Christmas bundle, a thank you gift, which was lino prints that I'd hand carved, printed by hand. Anyway, I fell in love with the whole process again, and I knew I needed to rest my knees over Christmas because I told you I had patella tendonitis. So I made this to carve a load of things while on the narrowboat, and I ran out of the good linoleum. And then I thought, whoa there, pickle, I've got a ridiculous amount of offcuts in here, and I've got a dad who's got a woodyard with even more, so I may as well go down that route. So I bought Laura Boswell's Japanese woodblock printing book. So I'm going to go through that at some point in the next few months. I think this is going to be fun. Yeah, I could be here all day. Let me show you how I made it. Now the first thing you're obviously going to need is the actual table part itself, just to allow the size of your Japanese wood or your lino. I actually got really lucky, I didn't have to cut mine. Mine was 40 by 30 centimetres, which is exactly the same size as the SD one that you can actually buy. And yes, you'll be able to pick these up for about a tenner, but again, there's so many offcuts in here, and I got to use my bandsaw to rip pieces down as a fence to keep my pieces from slipping. Now you could have this completely straight, you don't have to have a V there to wedge anything, or you could have it running it that way. You don't even have to have this L-shaped section, but since my bandsaw's got a miter track, why not? And I wanted that V to be dead centre, and I'm now cross-cutting a couple of pieces. Anyway, this is back to when I had lino. I'm happy with that cut. Now this step isn't necessary, but I had so many of it, and that's an anti-slip mat I decided to cut down to the same size and glue it down. I just used some carpet tile glue, and because it's spongy I decided to compress it down with my body weight and OSB on top. There's a couple of things I'd complain about this idea, is that it's a bit tricky to remove all the lino bits trapped inside. It's not the end of the world, and even if you glue it, it can come away. It's just quite useful if you don't want to reach over the other end and you want to work closer to you and it won't move. Another step that it probably isn't necessary is I decided to glue these pieces down, which obviously is going to be trickier if I do want to replace this, but it costs peanuts to make. I also pushed it against a straight edge, and the only one thing that I don't like about the bandsaw so far is that the miter track, there is a little bit of play in there. So before I even fix it down, I decided to get my corner, line it up with a V, and then secure it with spring clamps, and quickly nail gunned it before I added screws. Although this slightly bugged me, I picked my shortest nails and they made slight protrusions. They didn't go through completely. So now we're on to another offcut for here, which I lined up with the bottom to mark and cut it. I definitely didn't want to use the nail gun this time, so I had to slightly pull the anti-slip mat back and pre-drilled and screwed it together. And it was around this time I realised that this 1.5 inch support gave a little bit too much of a wiggle. So I thought, while I'm here, I may as well just cut another piece with a miter and glue and screw it to the end. If you are right-handed, then go with that one if you want. Left-handed, you might want it the other way around. And what's new for this year is that all of the designs so far you're going to find in my Etsy shop below. Also, I just want to quickly show you my little carving, because you're going to see that the other way around, but in my viewfinder, it's the right way. Let's do it. I had the right angle. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, you get the gist.